Hello folks, Max Rock with MultifamilyGeeks.com, here to show you how to find multifamily properties to underwrite. And I'm going to kind of show you through the back door method, not necessarily through the front door. But let's do a couple of things to help you get started. So one thing is to just start calling brokers and going, do you have any multifamily properties for sale, right? That's one way. But there's a lot of brokers out there that are cultivating email lists, so when they have a property they can send it out to their email list, and they've got thousands on those lists. So at the very least, to get started underwriting, and again you may say, well, those are going to be properties that everybody's looking at, and that's true, but maybe you're new to underwriting, maybe you're new to multifamily, and you need sort of some solid documents to start the process of learning how to underwrite. So I don't know that you necessarily need to go for the off-market deals right now. There is some learning curve to this business, and we always say the 100 underwritings is one of the milestones. So here's one thing you want to do. You want to go commercial, Google, commercial real estate broker, right? Brokers. You're going to get a bunch of different ads, but you're going to also find, just commercial brokers in your area, right? And I would argue you're going to these sites and you're going to start to sign up on the website. You're going to put in your name, your email, and whatever else they ask you. You're going to tell them you're a principal, you're interested in buying properties, and that way they're going to add you to their email list, all right? So now I'm going to take you, just assume you can figure that out, right? Because you're going to go for the commercial brokers in your area. Assume that happens. Now in your email, you're going to start to see emails like this. Offers due 624 Liberty Club, 240 units in Hinesville, Georgia, right? So this is one of the brokers. This is a Cushman Wakefield office, right? And oftentimes they'll run their email lists out of their office. So if it's a Georgia office, they're going to want a lot of people interested in Georgia properties. And so that way you can start to sign up on all kinds of websites. Pretty soon, I would say within 2 weeks of doing anything like that, your email is going to be flooded with more properties than you can possibly underwrite. Right? And after you've done your 100 underwritings, and you've gotten that badge, we call it the 100 underwriting certificate, right? It's sort of a mile marker where now you're going to go, okay, I've underwritten a bunch of these public ones. How do I get an off-market deal that I can underwrite where I can possibly get something that I can buy, right? Because a lot of these are priced up so high because you've got so many people looking at them that they don't make sense for investment. Nonetheless, we're trying to learn how to underwrite first, and then we're trying to go out, and when we find a deal after that, right, we need to make sure we capture it and move forward with an LOI and a PSA if we win that. And we close the deal within our 60 or 90-day term that's specified in our PSA. All right, so in your email now, let's keep going with what this video is about. In your email now, properties show up. If you click on these, you're going to go to the website that you're already signed up in. And that's part of this whole thing. Once it'll remember your data, right, and that's good. It'll start to talk about this, but here's all the documents. And all of these websites are a little bit different. They all have their own sort of delivery system for documents. There's a confidentiality agreement. Standard broker confidentiality agreements are fine. Yes, you want to sign them. I double click on this. It takes me and logs me back in, right? It remembers me. This is all what you're going to set up, but let me show you the goal, okay? So I'm not going to show you the total mechanics. You're going to figure that out. But once you see the big picture, I think you'll get it. This is a relatively straightforward issue, right? Here's the confidentiality agreement. I've read this before, you guys. It's fine. It's a standard, keep these documents private. You're not allowed to distribute them. You're not allowed to go out and try to wholesale the property, that kind of thing, right? They are the listing broker for this property. So I'm going to say yes to this. They ask me what my role is. I'm a principal investor. That's my role. And I agree. So I agree to their confidentiality agreement. It says thank you to me. There's a little bit of pause on this website, and again, all the websites are a little bit different, and they can be somewhat quirky to navigate. You just have to work your way through that, and I agree it can be frustrating at times. But now this file is unlocked for me right now, and so I want to go to the download all button. Download all. So I don't have to click through all the different, see how they have confidential, financials, public. They have sort of different categories here. Don't worry about that. Just download all. So we click this, it goes down and puts it into our downloads folder. Notice it's a zipped file. It's a little bit annoying for people, but I'll show you how to get around that. Go to what I recommend is your shared Google Drive. Open a new, we number ours. The next file in line is 110. So I'm going to put a new folder. This is 0110 for us. And I'm going to say, just for now, Cushman Wakefield, right? I didn't even look at what the name of the property is. I'll go back and correct this folder name to include the property name here, and I'll just clean it up. But first, let's create it. Let's click into it. Let's say new. And we don't want a folder, now we want a file upload. So before we did new folder, that was what we just did. And I went kind of fast, so I'm slowing down a little bit here. We did new folder. Now we're inside the folder, we clicked into it, right? Here's it back, just go back real quick. Here's the one we created. We created a new folder, Cushman Wakefield. Click into that. And it's blank, there's nothing in it yet because we just created it. Now we're going to do new, file upload, and we're going to pick up that zipped folder that we just downloaded from the Cushman Wakefield website. All right, let's find downloads. So I have to maybe find this. There it is. And it's called Liberty Club. So I'm going to start to get the name of this property right. I'm going to click this and say open, which will upload the entire zipped file. And by the way, the zipped file is efficient to go down to your hard drive and up to the Google Drive that you're sharing with your underwriting team. Why use a Google Drive? Because they've got Google Sheets, you guys. They have a replacement for Excel that a lot of us don't have on our hard drive anymore. And they've got an entire system for sharing with your team that is far superior to don't put Excel on your hard drive anymore, you guys. Stop that. And don't underwrite on your hard drive. Underwrite live on the shared folder so your team members can either participate with you or watch what you're doing. And you literally can see which of your team members are online underwriting, and you can go in and watch what they're doing and go, that's interesting. I kind of see how they're, going through this. This is how we learn, right? Humans learn through collaboration. That's by far the most efficient form of learning. Okay, so Liberty Club, we are going to right-click this, say open with, and there'll be some basic, like a zip extractor. Okay, it's a basic utility inside of Google Drive. Click on that. It'll go through, find the files to be unzipped. We will say extract, and notice all of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have to worry about any of that. Just say extract, you guys. We'll worry about it in a second. It's giving you a % of extraction. All right, done. Extraction complete. Click straight back into the file folder, and now you'll see a new file folder that's unzipped. I like to clean this up. I get rid of this one, remove. I don't want to see that anymore. I've now got them all unzipped in here. And they break them into these different file folders, and for me that's annoying. I don't care about the confidentiality agreement. So I'm going to I already have a copy of that from before, right? That's not going to help me in this. So I'm going to remove that whole thing. All right, then I'm going to go into the confidential file folder they give me. And there's an OM, and there's financials. These I'm going to all move. I do not like them in separate file folders. I'm constantly clicking into each trying to figure out what I've got where. Okay, I don't like it. So I move them here, and all I'm doing is moving them up the chain, the crumb. Now I go into financials. I'm going to highlight all these, and I'm going to move them back to that root folder because they're down in this folder. Move 2. Go back 1 out of financials. There it is. Back 2 actually. I was too deep into it, right? 2 layers deep. Move here, same move. Now I'm going to get rid of this financials file folder because that's going to annoy me. I don't want to see it there anymore. I'm going to get rid of this confidential file folder. Don't want to see it there anymore. And now here I have my Liberty Club unzipped. Let's see. Cushman Wakefield 110. Oh, I still have them down a layer. See, that's too many layers. All right, highlight all these. Let's do it one more time. And say move 2. And let's go up 1 more level to here. There we go. Move here. Move. I just don't want to keep clicking through all these file folders. So this is the way I clean it up. All right, rename, remove. Now, how's that? There we go. Here's my property. Now I'm going to rename the folder, and I'm going to say Liberty Club. Call this Liberty Club. I'm going to say uploaded by Max. I'm going to say today's date, 6/22/21. I'm going to say due question mark. I don't know when it's due yet. I'll figure that out, and I'll continue to update this folder name. This helps the team understand what's going on. And then I like to start to number these because my eye is drawn to different things. Like, look, rent roll, rent roll, rent roll. Why do I need 3 rent rolls now? I may need them later, but I don't need them now. So I may actually go back, make a new folder and call it miscellaneous. And I realize there's a little bit of rigmarole here, but it kind of helps my brain sort through what I've got, what I'm dealing with, right? You see me sort of grasping, okay, what are the files I'm dealing with? Which ones do I really want to focus on? I want to focus on the OM, so I'm going to rename that 01. And there's no magic to which one gets which number. It just starts to put a priority in my brain of, there's the OM. Anytime I go back to this folder and it's numbered, I'm going to look at the lower numbers for the OM first. New leases. That's going to be interesting. A prelim T12 statement for 5/31. That's interesting. A rent roll for 5/17, a rent roll for 6/10, but this is a PDF rent roll. I hate PDF rent rolls, okay? And that's maybe way too strong, okay? So I apologize for the language, but they just drive me nuts, right? And look, it's a copy of this one here. See how it's 6/10 and 6/10? Here's the Excel. So I'm going to put this sort of in my holding miscellaneous folder, move it. I don't want to look at that. And if they've got a PDF T12, I don't want to look at that either. That away. Now I'm not deleting it because somebody may want to go back through and look at that, and maybe there's some discrepancy or something I've got to investigate. I don't want to have to go back and download the whole thing again. That would be a lot of work. So just put it in a miscellaneous folder in there, and it's sort of a holding tank so I can start to clean this up. And when we're sharing these documents with the teams, right, if you're online with a team and you're talking about folder number 110, you're going to say go to folder 110, open up files 1, 2, and 3, right? So I would argue file 2 should be a T12 probably. This one says 2104, so that's through April. This one says 5/3 for a T12, so I'm down to 2 T12s right here. This one says April, and this one says May 31st, much more recent. Let's see what it looks like. Now I'm getting curious, right? What do I actually have here? Looks good, and it does look like a full T12. It looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, right? Actual, and my total. Okay, so I like this a lot. I'm going to call this one, I'm going to rename this file 02, because I'm probably dealing with that right after the OM. All right, now go back to my file folder again here. Let it update. See how it took a second there to update? All right, because Google folders, you know, are an online-based system, there is some lag there depending on my internet connection, right? But now I've got, you know, files 1 and 2. My brain is starting to get organized here. I also see a rent roll from 6/10 and a rent roll from 5/17. I'm assuming 6/10 is up through May, you know, 5/17 is up through April, right? There's a lag. So, but let's look at the 6/10. That looks like the rent roll I want. Right, there you go. Nice. Page 1 out of 37. Yeah, it's my kind of rent roll right there. But it looks good, and it looks like, can I see the dates of when this was run? 6/10. This looks like my most recent one. I'm going to make this file number 3. And you can see the priority in my mind. OM first, T12 next, rent roll next, right? And I'm mapping it out for my team members. When they get here, this thinking is already done. Now, I'm going to take this rent roll, which is older, put it in this folder so it cleans it up. They can still go look at it, right? They can go back through the whole process of what I'm doing. Here's a T12 through April. Get rid of that, put it up in the miscellaneous folder. Just a holding bin, right? But look, I'm down to 3 files. New leases and a tax bill. Well, probably the tax bill is my next most important. Rename this 04. 04, not O, but 04. And then Liberty new leases. I'm kind of curious what this form looks like, right, as you're starting to go through this. If we're starting to get, our LOI accepted, then this is going to become more important to me. But right now it's not. So I'm going to call this 05, but I'll leave it out in the main folder that we're looking at. I won't dump it away here because I do want to go back and start looking deeper if we get further down the road on this property. There's this whole idea of, if I dance with this property and things are going well, then we want to go further down the road and get to know this property more, right? So if not, I want to spend as little time on this as possible. But this is now set up cleanly. And I would go one step further. So you've seen, hey, we signed up at websites for commercial brokers. We got emails. We went to their websites. We downloaded the documents. We put them on a shared Google Drive. We cleaned up the Google Drive. I'm going to go back to MFG, which is MultifamilyGeeks.com, because now I want to use, and I hope you're trying our underwriting template. I'd like to think you are. If not, please give us a try. It's intuitive. It's training based, especially if you're new to underwriting, you're going to like it more than if you're a seasoned veteran, you're going to have your tools. But if you're new to underwriting, and I scrolled all the way down to the bottom, free Multifamily Geeks underwriting trainer. It's called a portfolio trainer. It's good for underwriting portfolios and it's good for training. Click it to open. Give it 30 seconds or 60 seconds to fully open. Then go file. There we go. Well, it's still opening. Okay, give it a second. There we go. I see some things populating. Okay, file, download, Microsoft Excel. File, download, Microsoft Excel. One more time, file. So we opened it. It's kind of weird. File, download, Microsoft Excel. It opens best in Chrome. That's where you're going to want to do it. Download the Excel. It's going to put it down on your download folder again, right where we put the property files to begin with. Okay. Then go back to our folder, new, file, upload. So we downloaded it, we went to the website, we downloaded it to our hard drive, right? Devices increasingly don't have hard drives these days, but they have some sort of flash memory where you can download files and hold them there. Now you're going to upload it back up to the Air Drive, to the Google Drive. File upload. Here it is. It's in an Excel format. That's why you see the Excel format. But once you bring it into a Google shared drive, it's starting to think of it as sheets. Okay, and I hear you. If you're old school, like from the school I came from, you love that old Excel. I get it. But the collaboration power of the Google Sheets is so far superior. I've been willing to give up the technical advantages of Excel for the collaborative advantages of Google Sheets, right? And notice it's 00, so it's already kind of fitting into my number scheme, right? And I might rename it 06 at this point, but I definitely want to start to rename it for Liberty Club. Let's get rid of this stuff and say Liberty Club property, right? And I'm going to say max, because what you'll have is multiple underwriters will upload different templates, etc., to this folder. And I might even put today's date on it, 6/22/21. That way if I start searching later and this pops up, it'll give me more clues as to whether I want that file or not. Say OK. And here we go. Now we're ready to start the underwriting process, which go see the other videos we've made. I don't want this one to go too long. We can go for the next hour or two. Pulling up that T12, dropping it into the template, processing it. And then if it's a good property, moving on to the comprehensive tab can be an additional 1 to 3 hours depending. And we're not going to that tab unless we really like this property. What does that mean for us? We'd like to see a 6 to 12% cash on cash return. And I might even say 6 to 10%, whoever sees a 12, but 6 to 10% cash on cash return at or about the asking price, right? At or about the asking price. And that would be maybe definitely within 10% of the asking price, right? You can be a little bit flexible, but these days the asking prices are being hit plus. So if you're not underwriting at 6 to 10% cash on cash at the asking, why are we bothering with this property, right? Just practice your underwriting, say next, and you're working for your 100 properties, right, to get that certificate. And then eventually you're going to start calling these brokers, and they do see your name, and some of these brokers, just that's on another note, These guys will call me and leave a message. They'll say, hey Max, I saw you downloaded the Property Liberty Club. Do you think you'll be placing an offer on that? Offers are coming up this. So they'll literally work the phones from the list of people that downloaded it, right? And I can call them back, and a lot of these brokers are very receptive, even to us newbies, right? But if you can underwrite on a template like this MFG template, you have enough real questions to ask a commercial broker where they're going to know you're serious, right? If you start going through some of these questions and you say, I noticed I noticed the management fee was a little low on this property, right? And do you think that's a reasonable management fee? And do you think I can use the same manager? Whatever you're asking them, right? Like, I see vacancies a little off. And in general, you're going to outpace that broker very quickly. They've got their pro forma, but they are they're less technical than you're going to think they are, right? And they do deal with a lot of properties, so don't be deceived. They know what they're doing technically. I'm just saying, you as a serious caller, when you start to call and ask for more details, the details you're going to ask for are going to give them the clue that you're a serious, at least underwriter, you're a very serious underwriter of this property. And they like groups like us that underwrite properties. When people just call them up out of the blue and go, yeah, what's this, what's that, and it kind of sounds like they haven't done their due diligence, they start to take that person or group less seriously. So hope that helps, just to see you how to find properties to underwrite, especially in the beginning when you're learning how to underwrite multifamily properties. This is the way you do it, in our opinion. This is how you share it. And then when you start going in here and say, share this folder with your team, right? And the overall folder for some of these teams is already shared. You can share this with everybody. They're all editors. They're going to come in and start to underwrite. They may upload their own template. They may have their template that they like that's different than the MFG. And that's always a great discussion too. What did you get for your IRR, right? And what did we get and why? What's your entrance cap? What's your refi cap? What's your exit cap? Why? Why'd you choose that? Right, now you get into some real substantive discussions about the property and underwriting and whether or not this can become a deal that works for our investors. All right, so Max Rock with MultifamilyGeeks.com. Hope it helps.